Hi students, welcome back. So we're in week 3. That means we're 25% of the way through the summer course. Excellent work this week responding to the message boards, or rather last week. It was a really productive and fruitful discussion. You all have really smart things to say. I am impressed and pleased. You're doing everything right as far as that discussion board goes, so please keep doing what you're doing. So this week, we're going to be talking more about analysis. We'll continue to develop your analytical toolkit and talk about ways that you can stay in an appropriately analytical frame of mind so that you can do well on your advertising analysis. We're also going to be talking about WEX, which is the Writers Exchange. It is a customized peer review platform designed by Ohio State for Ohio State students. And the last thing we're going to talk about in this video is how you can make peer review really useful both for you as the author and when you're reviewing other people's work. So let's get started. This is a wing nut. It's a piece of hardware that's used to hold furniture together. And this is my little brother. What do wing nuts and my little brother have to do with rhetoric in advertising? I will tell you. So my little brother is notorious for taking things apart when he was a little boy, and it drove my mom crazy. When he took something apart and then couldn't figure out how to put it back together or just didn't want to, he would stick the parts in his laundry basket and he thought that they were hidden. Well, my mother was doing laundry and she found a handful of wing nuts. And she said, wow, it's really bad if these wing nuts aren't on a piece of furniture because the furniture is unstable and it could collapse. So she hunted through the house and eventually found that he had unscrewed all the wing nuts from underneath the dining room table. So we were one large meal away from collapsing the table. Now the reason I tell you that is because now my brother is probably the best electrician I know. He's really talented. He's really good at putting things together and fixing things. And the reason why he's good at fixing things and building things is because as a child, he spent so much time taking things apart. That's why we analyze. The taking apart that my brother does is the same kind of taking apart that we are going to be doing when we analyze these advertisements. And if you can take apart a rhetorical object and figure out how it works, then you can take what you learn from that and turn around and put together another rhetorical object. So you could apply what you're learning about ad analysis to all sorts of different kinds of composing. Maybe how you write your cover letter when you go out looking for a job, or how you persuade somebody to elect you for student government. There are lots of ways that these tools are useful. So as I mentioned before, the Writers Exchange is a peer review platform. There's really thorough documentation on how to use it, but I want to hit upon some key points that you need to understand for the Writers Exchange, mainly the describe, assess, suggest model that we use for peer review. The first step is to describe, or to summarize in your own words, what you understand the writer's piece of writing is trying to say. So this will help you slow down and make sure you understand their project, and it will also help them understand how a reader is receiving their writing. And if your description is completely different from what they had hoped you'd gotten out of it, then that lets them know where they can revise. The second step is to assess. This is probably what you're more accustomed to when you do peer review. Think about what is working well and what is less effective, and always try to answer why you think something is working well or not working so well in the writer's project. The third step is to offer some suggestions for how the writer can improve their project. Pay attention in the WEX guide to the different ways you can phrase your suggestions so that they land gently and don't sound too demanding. Things like if-then statements. If you did this, then that would probably work better. Or it might help if you did this. Or asking questions. What if you tried to swap the introduction and conclusion? So the last thing we're going to talk about is peer review. How can peer review be useful to you as the reviewer, and how can it be useful to you as an author? Knowing how to respond to one another's work is a really important skill, not just in college, but out in the working world. My research deals with collaboration in business environments, and we know that business environments are more collaborative than ever, collaborative across continental boundaries even, as I'm sure many of you are aware. So it's really important to think about how you can give feedback and receive feedback in productive and useful ways. So weekly assignments, you have 3 this week. The first is Process Post 2. Nice job on Process Post 1. I want to remind all of you that the artifact that you're going to analyze for this class is going to be an advertisement video, ideally 30 to 60 seconds, though that's flexible. If it's longer, that means you'll have to be more selective about what you analyze because there will be a lot to analyze in these videos. So in Process Post 2, you're going to talk a little bit more about the artifact that you think you're going to work with. Feel free to include a link to the video if you found it on the internet. And talk about 3 images that you found that you might use for the symposium that connect in some way with this video, and make sure you cite those according to the rules you read about in your reading. The second 2 assignments, they're connected and they have to do with the Writers Exchange. The first is your Learning WEX submission, and the second is your Learning WEX review. In your submission, you're going to submit a piece of writing, and in your review, you're going to respond to someone else's writing. This is an opportunity for you to practice what you'll need to do when we're doing peer review all throughout the course. So let me know if you have any questions. Something to keep in mind, I strongly advise you not to wait till the last minute to do this and to upload. The way the WEX platform operates, late submissions are not accepted. I have no control over that. So make sure you get things in on time. Start early, especially if you've had problems with technology in the past, so that you can troubleshoot before that submission window closes. I look forward to seeing you on the forums, and as always, keep doing what you're doing. Send me emails if you have questions, or ask questions on the forums, and then everybody can benefit from the answers.